so I'll pretend we're watching the minute.
All right.
Really? Because it looks like I'm there.
No.
It's just that one shot?
Just that one shot.
Okay.
How do you do? We're about to unfold the story of
Ghost of Frankenstein.
My son, would you destroy that which I, your father, dedicated his life to creating? What if it had another brain?
Whose brain?
Your brain.
Power! What good is a brain without eyes to see?
I warned you that you might regret this action.
We've warned you.
You've been warned. Welcome back to Frankenstein Minute, the podcast that dissects the Universal Frankenstein film series minute by minute. I'm Bill Evenson.
And I'm Thom Lang, and you join us for minute 25 of Universal's 1942 film, The Ghost of Frankenstein.
All new thrills. The Ghost of Frankenstein.
We were done with that.
I gotta say, in this case, this thrilling minute, we got so much to talk about. There are so many thrills.
And they're all new.
And they're all new. Yep.
None of these thrills have happened before.
Like it starts out in a thrilling fashion. You've got a monster busting loose from his chains.
From a big chair.
The only question is who's playing
the
it.
monster.
And I'm still on the fence after watching it on your monitor. It's a clear Blu-ray picture of it. I still think it kind of looks like Chaney, but
he doesn't move the way Chaney does.
I think he moves about like Chaney does.
No, his face is thinner. It just doesn't look like Chaney.
Okay.
Maybe it is, but to me it looks like it's a
maybe he
stuntman.
Lost weight and they brought him back in for that
They
shot.
had to do retakes. Yeah. This movie didn't retake anything.
Well, we'll see. We have more to say.
It's like when Chaney had a double for Strange in Bud Abbott, Lou Costello Meet Frankenstein.
He doesn't look like Strange, no.
Very, very brief shots.
Yeah, and it's obvious.
But it's pretty obvious it's not Strange, and he moves like Lon Chaney moves.
He does. It's great.
And this guy, I don't think...
It's funny that I think that's great, because it doesn't hurt the film any.
Oh, not at all.
And it is great.
It's so brief. And
it's fun. Yeah.
And I didn't notice it for the longest time till it was pointed out.
Oh, absolutely. And it's amazing
to think that... Of course, now it's all I see.
Sure. Well, that's an interesting point. Maybe we should stop doing this podcast. Like, all we're doing is making it harder to enjoy these films.
Ruining these movies for ourselves, yeah.
And for our listeners.
Yeah, well, there's no question about that.
Well, fuck it.
I'm going to say it's probably Eddie Parker doubling for him in that shot. It's just the Patreons who are able to access this minute will know.
Yeah.
That
it's the very first
shot. Continues from the last few seconds of the last minute.
And then, like, a second later, though...
But it's definitely Chaney.
It's Chaney, okay. Yeah. All right.
It's just as he's busting the chair apart and stands up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very wide shot. Then it's a little bit closer, and it definitely is Chaney from that point moving forward.
Excellent. Chaney, I have to say, for all that I've probably trashed him over the last few weeks, he's absolutely convincing as a big, scary monster.
Yes.
It really works really well. Now we're into the point where you think, okay, now this is why you hired this guy.
Yeah.
He might be better than Karloff in this sense, because he really is just playing a big, brutish, monstrous, mute drunk. I don't know.
Well, I think in that instance, you're possibly right. I don't know, better than Karloff.
Yeah, I shouldn't go better.
Equal, because Karloff was pretty good at that too.
That's a good point.
When he busts out of that chair in Bride, that's pretty
really
fucking
true.
Great.
That's really true. Yeah, there were no issues.
Yeah.
Good point. But Chaney's really good too.
Yeah, Chaney's good here at this, yes.
And I think he's probably better than, well, as scandalous as it might be to say, Lugosi, but also probably Strange. Because he has that wild monsterness to him, I think. I think Strange is a little more...
Strange is a little more affable.
Affable and reserved.
Just an affable
guy. It's like
guy.
a bartender who got his head cut off and they put a different brain in.
Yep, could have been a bartender. Would have been a great bartender.
Would have been a great bartender.
And when
we'll get there.
Dad and I used to watch Gunsmoke, and I never realized till many years later. Oh, wait a minute, that's that guy. Okay.
So that's 10 years later, probably after Abbott and Costello, or when does Gunsmoke start?
Gunsmoke started in like the
as
20s,
a radio show.
20s, and it was on
teens.
forever.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when he joined the cast, if he was on it right away or...
The Gunsmoke being on forever thing is it's like a relic to even refer to now, because all shows last that long now. The Simpsons has been on for 280 years.
40 years, yeah.
Family Guy's been on 180 years.
That's
South Park's been on
baffling.
something like 26 years.
Yeah, I don't...
but every show's on for 20 some years now.
Chaos ensues as the villagers flee the courtroom. Mm-hmm. Presumably they're off to fetch their pitchforks and torches.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
We got a guy selling them outside.
That's right.
Get your pitchforks. They got Chico out there with his cart.
He's got his cart, and he followed Igor and the monster from the town of Frankenstein in the beginning.
It's only a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time. I like the chaos of the courtroom because it's like Airplane where they're doing chaos. Because one guy one of the cops runs and jumps over the desk.
He's running away.
He looks like he might be running away.
I think it's the edit does him a disservice.
Yeah,
because I'm sure the monster flung him out of the way.
Have you seen the video of the guy who does Luke Skywalker being pulled out the window in Cloud City during the climactic battle of Empire Strikes Back?
Yes, I have.
But the guy jumps on a trampoline, and it looks perfect. It works perfectly in the movie, but they don't show the fucking part where he's on the trampoline. And here they show the part where like he's running away and jumps over the desk. So he looks like a coward. Yeah. But I think he's supposed to look like he was thrown.
Like he was thrown by the monster. Yeah. But yeah.
But we might even be giving that guy too much credit on that one. Maybe it's not something you notice right away.
He's a professional stuntman, though, so I think he would know how to do this properly. And I just think that they edited it a little too tight.
Yep, that's probably right.
That's all.
And two other cops just run and hide, or maybe one falls behind a chair.
Yeah, well, one you can see is actually getting shoved by Junior.
But there's four of them. But there's the one guy who goes the one way. The other guy gets shoved by Junior, and I think maybe another guy acts that he is being shoved by Junior, which is fine.
It's fine.
And then one guy just runs away and falls or something. It doesn't hold up to repeat viewings particularly.
It looks fine. You're not watching this in an insane amount of detail
like we are. Yeah.
Then it looks fine. But
But one cool thing that I don't know if it's a cool thing, but one thing that establishes how this scene is going to play out is that everyone runs out of the room, including Eric, who has no interest in rescuing his father-in-law or future father-in-law.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm assuming that's in the works. They've talked about marriage. Married. Wait till you're married. Maybe they're not fiancé. Maybe is that his fiance?
Yeah,
they said that.
I think they've referred to that.
Anyways, he just fucking leaves, and you actually see him. There's a shot where you see him run away
out of the room.
And he's the closest one to Ludwig, dude. It's not like he have to go that far out of his way to just yank him out of there.
Grab him and get him out of harm's way.
Nope, no chance.
It's like when George Costanza sees the fire in the kitchen and he knocks over the clown and the old lady with the walker to run out of the room. Yeah.
Well, in this case, it's clearly a response to the last conversation they had where he said, "No, I think that's a bit of an exaggeration, Eric. I'll be there when I get there." That kind of thing. Maybe he said, "Well,
fuck you, old man.
Screw you.
Go to bed, old man."
If so, we'll see how that plays out in the rest of the film. Maybe there's a grudge here.
There's some unspoken tension.
Yes.
Junior approaches Ludwig, arms upraised in a threatening gesture.
And I love something in this movie. I love it. I love the shadow of the chain that falls over Hardwick's face, his forehead. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's a good shot.
Yeah.
It's well composed and it works.
Yep.
Especially since, as we pointed out, Hardwick probably not all that tall.
He stops or Junior stops as Ludwig literally stares him down, or up.
That's true.
Maybe
he doesn't look. It's maybe Hardwick's best moment in that sense. He doesn't look at all confident. He's like, "Oh shit, what did I do?" Yeah. He's like, he doesn't look. Like he's staring him down. He doesn't look defiant.
No,
yeah, he looks a little scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what he's got in his hands is the chains that are still on his. They're still manacled to him, but he's also got part of the chair, proving my point about the fact that he was manacled to the chair or whatever. But yes, he hears the unmistakable sound of that weird horn. That's what we call it, right?
Yeah.
We don't have a name for it.
Playing a tuneless tune.
Oh, you think?
I think the one from Sun was much better because it had a more melodic. This seems very choppy. And it's the same musical team, so I don't know why they didn't just reuse the one from Sun because it was a lot more effective.
That's really interesting because nothing's reused.
No, none of the
music. So they either
new.
took it as an opportunity to. Well, I guess I don't know. I don't know how they're paid. I don't know anything.
Salter and Skinner were both contract employees for Universal, so they were essentially a work for hire. So I don't think they get shit, and Universal can use it ad infinitum, which they do. It became known as Salterism when they would reuse these cues.
Well, that's true.
Like the cues from the Wolfman show up in a lot of the Sherlock Holmes movies. Bride of Frankenstein shows up all over the place.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah,
Aren't they still using him up to like This Island Earth and stuff? Doesn't that have some...
I think that was the new...
Okay, what am I thinking of? Somewhere in the 50s they're still using
Yeah,
him.
I know they are. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. Okay, so that's
and
happening.
Like that creature
and then,
from the Black Lagoon.
I like this as a...
I was going to say that creature from the Black Lagoon sting gets used in everything from Godzilla movies to Soviet sci-fi movies that have been redubbed.
Actually, now you're making me think there is a Godzilla movie that's got...
It's King Kong versus Godzilla.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it the American version where they pasted in and maybe some Frankenstein stuff, if I'm remembering it right?
It's possible because they completely jettisoned Ikafube's score and used
because he's a hack.
Yeah, that fucking has been
like one of the unimpeachable artists involved. You know, you can laugh at a lot of things in the Godzilla movies, but there's one unimpeachable thing. It could have been the music. I would have thought.
Right. It's
maybe
it's like Ennio Morricone too. You know, you can't argue.
Yeah.
No matter how cheesy the movie might have been.
People who don't know what movie it is whistle that some of his music.
Oh yeah, I heard it the other day. Somebody who
probably doesn't even know what they're doing. Yeah. So I think this is a nice continuity detail that the monster loves it when Igor blows his horn.
Oh.
Sorry. Why does Igor blow his horn?
Well, he is, sure enough, is a shot of Igor standing outside, playing his horn, and in the background there's a wagon awaiting.
So he has been in some way monitoring the situation.
Yeah.
And decided, I better act on this.
Yeah, Igor's got his finger
in the window,
on the pulse.
As we know from deleted scenes from the last film, or something. Or no, this film.
No, from this film.
That he does.
He's a peeper.
Absolutely.
And he's got his finger on the pulse, so he knows. And my guess is he probably stole the wagon and the horses.
No, I'm with you there. That makes sense.
Yep.
But he realizes that now would be a good time to blow his horn.
Yep. Shit hit the fan, so let's...
Or maybe I guess he sees everybody running out the door and probably goes, all right, well, I better...
we are leaving!
What's that?
I think it's from Platoon or something. Marines, we are leaving.
All right. I honestly started to say Frankenstein. The monster...
Junior goes to the window.
Well, he gives up on Frankenstein. He doesn't...
Frankenstein gives up on Frankenstein?
He has no interest in clubbing Ludwig anymore.
Nope.
He's like been convinced we get a good thing going here. I could probably escape out this window, which is in the script. He does go over to the magistrate's window.
Yep.
And in the movie, I think it's funny because he pushes the windows open, and it's so effective when he just lightly pushes on it that it makes me think there are two guys with strings pulling it.
Yeah.
But it works. It's not. It doesn't look fake, but it works like a little too well. It's like too perfect. They don't bang and come back or anything. You know.
Which would have been great.
Which kind of would have been great too if he had to kick them a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah, they bounce shut again. God damn it!
Actually, we could just do a decent podcast just talking about windows and doors in these films.
Yeah, right.
Probably a better one than this.
Yeah, just he steps outside. Well, they cut to Igor playing. Cut back. He's already got one foot out. Yeah. Yeah, because I'm assuming it was extraordinarily awkward watching him do both.
It's fairly awkward as it is. It's bad enough as it is. But yeah, it's okay. And part of what makes it awkward is sort of part of the point of it, which is that he's dragging parts of the room with him, basically. Which is great. It's all part of the.
It's all part of the fun.
Part of the fun of it. Yeah, I'm not. That's not meant to be a criticism.
And then Igor ushers Junior to the wagon as the music starts to swell, and you can hear the angry mob off in the distance. Getting closer.
Igor's words are not as inspiring as his horn playing, because he says to him, "Quick." Cheney does not move quickly. He then says, "Get in here," which Cheney almost does, but it fucking takes forever.
Yeah.
So again, difference in the script, and I didn't write it down. I just remember that in the script, one of the things that happens is Igor comes by on the cart with the horses, and he's driving the cart, and he pulls up, and the monster jumps on the cart. Mm-hmm. What we end up with is Igor escorts the monster to the cart. He grabs his hand. He actually takes his hand, and in his hand is, again, part of the courtroom. Yeah. Because he's ripped apart. Part of that chair he's dragging part of the chair with him. He gets him up into the back of the cart, and it is just fucking hilarious because it's so fucking bad.
It's not as bad as in the next film when the same thing happens with the monster in a different
character. That's a good point. Well, at least that character is supposed to be blind, not blind drunk.
way.
Yeah, like Cheney takes 25. I mean, it takes 25 minutes to get into the back of this cart.
Well, and he doesn't get all the way in because one of his legs
he's still
is
not in the cart.
Sticking out.
What's great is from the angle where you can see that he hasn't bothered to he won't even scoot his butt back a foot so that
poor Lugosi is struggling to shut the gate.
Then they cut to another angle, which clearly I have to think wasn't shot at the same time.
No.
I'm sure it's a different take.
No, it's a different take.
Lugosi's still having trouble closing it.
Well, I think it's just
is that a continuity?
I think
thing?
it's to preserve the continuity.
Like the continuity, the script girl, as they used to call her, is like, remember, Bela, remember you're supposed to have trouble closing the
door.
I don't know why she talks like Lavoine and Shirley from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I don't even know what's happening anymore. All right, but he has a hell of a time.
We're still talking about Frankenstein movies, right?
The end result of all this is that lame, hobbled Igor facilitates a really lightning fast escape from this situation. Yeah. So all these people went running out of the room because there's a monster there, and he's busted loose and he's going to hurt everybody. And then he casually makes his way out the window where someone grabs his hand and helps him
stroll gently. He's like,
you can actually see him. There's a step, like on a, like, you know, anybody who's got like a big truck,
like
big truck guys, and there's like an extra step just so you can get to the thing to
so
get
you
in
actually
it.
Get into the
truck, and this
yeah.
has got one of those, unless it's a hitch for something. I don't think so. No. And he's got a step, and he's got to step up with his big boots.
Yep.
And the monster has to push him over to get him into the back of it. It's just
Igor has to push the monster over. Is what you're saying.
Whatever I said.
The monster pushes him over. But
that would have worked that way too.
Yeah.
Same difference. It takes forever. It takes. Yeah. There's no sense of urgency. This is the thing that I said about that I think about films and about how films are made. And Steven Spielberg is really good at like in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. The guy gets his scarf caught in the rock breaking machinery that's spinning around, and then he's gonna get sucked into it. And then they show it from 4 different angles, and you can tell it's just the same thing happening over and over again. But it heightens suspense. There are things directors can do with filmmaking, with directing, with cinematography, and with editing, with music to heighten suspenence.
Absolutely.
And Earl C. Kenton doesn't give a fuck about any of that.
Well, he's going to have
He's going to have 2 guys limp down the street.
Well, it's like
despite what it said in the script.
It's like 2 old people helping each other walk over to the diner so they can get their dinner. Yeah.
Yep. It's not my favorite moment. Can you tell?
I don't think it's anybody's favorite moment.
And actually the only thing that does help is the music. The music does make it sound like there's an action scene going on.
Yeah, like there's
which doesn't hurt.
It's like there's supposed to be.
Like we didn't make one, but here's the music of
one.
One.
Approximation.
Just composed music compared to what was in the script. All right.
Any more questions, wise ass?
That sound of Night Train to Mundo Fine can only mean one thing. It is time for the final edition. No, I don't know. It's not the final edition. It's the latest edition of Got Any More Pre-Questions, Wise Ass, from in which we encourage our Patreons to contribute comments. Brought to you by Patreon, whatever. Anyway, so what happened is we sent out the minutes. We sent them out to everybody that contributes at Patreon. And today is the day that I hopefully have got a new tier. We're announcing a new tier. This is
you are. We haven't even discussed this really. So.
Well, I thought okay.
Well, a little bit. We did. All right.
Well, I thought we'd agreed to it, so I'm going to tell you what I think we're doing today, and you can cut it out if we decide not to do it. Today, we're announcing a new tier at Patreon. For those of you who think you're not giving enough, and there are a couple of you that are actually giving more.
More, yeah.
Our new tier is called, I don't know what to call it. Should we
Best friend.
Best friend.
Well, if you're friends,
what does the monster like better than friend? Does he say anything that's better than friend? Wife. I guess we could go wife.
Smoke is good.
Smoke.
Bread is good.
No, he doesn't say bread though.
Yeah.
No, he says
bread.
Oh, maybe he does.
He identifies bread.
Yeah. Okay. Smoke.
It's the smoke level. The smokers lounge.
Whatever. And for just whatever amount we've decided, I'm not going to even say.
The VIP lounge.
There you go. You can now receive every minute in advance and make comments.
Forever.
And, if you're a regular Patreon, you don't feel like spending that much money. If you think this is platform and shitification, as Cory Doctorow would refer to it, where I've given you something for free and now I'm asking you to pay for it, that is exactly what's happening here. As a Patreon, as a Patreon at the $2 level, we've made promises here, and we're not going to go back on that, at least not yet.
Not yet.
That says you still get every episode on Frankenstein Thursday, and you still get access to all the bonus content that we've made up to now, and we don't have any plans to do any.
Well, we've discussed
some things. Yeah.
So there will be bonus content.
But now there's a new level where you can get the minutes and make these comments and see if anybody signs up.
I'm going with the VIP lounge.
The VIP lounge.
Yep.
It's not very Frankenstein-y. I mean,
doesn't need to be.
For now, we still have these cheap ass Patreons that paid the normal amount.
Pikers.
Sean comments, hey, Igor gets another blute solo. Forgot.
Yeah,
it is the blute. This one has some pep, too. See, so there you go. It is a little bit more like a... It's almost more like a fanfare.
Call to action.
Call to arms,
yeah.
Oh, here, he says I should read the whole thing, maybe. This one has some pep, too, but it sounds like he's calling the cavalry. I do like the way it dovetails into the soundtrack music. I agree.
Yeah,
they do that same thing, yeah. Okay, and that's all of the comments, so maybe we'll get nobody signing up for the new. We'll see. Mike Herman commented
on this minute?
On a different minute, an unknown minute.
All right.
Trying to convince us that Ralph Bellamy has any sex appeal as a romantic lead is the goofiest thing this very goofy movie attempts to do.
Yeah, can't argue that. Usually he played like the second fiddle or
he's the
guy that the heroine is leaving to be with Cary Grant.
Okay, perfect.
Like
that
at least
perfect.
Twice, maybe more.
Is he that in no, I can't think. What can you think of one?
Oh, His Girl Friday.
Okay. Yes, there you go.
And The Awful Truth, I believe.
Okay, there you go.
Or My Favorite Wife, one of those two. No, it's Awful
His Girl Friday, I think, was the one I was thinking of, because I like that one.
Well, that's the one where Cary Grant references him by name.
He does say that?
Yeah. He's like, he looks like that fellow. What's the actor in the movies? Ralph Bellamy.
That's awesome. That you could simultaneously elevate and cut someone down.
Yep.
In one sentence.
Well, for a movie in that era to have that kind of a knowing wink.
To be meta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also refers to, Cary Grant's character refers to like an Archie Leach that was hung or something like that.
Is that in that movie?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And if you don't know, that's
his real name, yeah. It's also John Cleese's character's name in A Fish Called Wanda. S. Thornton posted in the Frankenstein Minute thread on the Classic Horror Film Board, I enjoy these Frankenstein Minute podcasts.
Oh, good.
So that's lovely. Thank you.
You just stop right there because
Thornton.
It's only going to get worse.
for your praise. But, oh wait, there is more. Oh. But the occasional political quips are always jarring to my ears.
Okay.
So that's an interesting one. I'm sympathetic, but, unlikely to change
stop.
all that much. I don't know. I mean, I can see that.
I had more for some of these minutes, but I did decide not to go there.
Yeah, I would say...
Considering what's happening in the world or in our country as we're recording this, there's a trial going on, and someone involved in that trial makes the exact same face constantly that Junior does.
That's true. So we've up until your comment, S. Thornton, we've been showing restraint.
Remarkable restraint in not referencing that.
And
he's also a mad brute.
And S. Thornton's not done.
Oh.
Dropping the F-bomb every few minutes makes it seem like they are trying too hard to be edgy.
Oh, fuck you, S. Thornton.
I knew you were going to say that. Okay, so...
Now, if we were trying to be edgy, we'd talk about pussy all the fucking time.
That's true. Good point. Chuck says Randolph Duke was Elsa's boyfriend. So you know who Randolph Duke is?
It's a character Ralph Bellamy played. I can't remember. Is it?
I assume that's Trading Places. Yeah, I know it's Randolph is one of them. Yeah. So I'm going to go with it. Yes, Randolph Duke is Elsa's boyfriend.
We're supposed to believe.
He was the town prosecutor in Visaria in
1942.
Which, by the way, there's a part where he says, "Who brought you to Visaria?" And the way he says it kind of sounds like he's saying this area. The town prosecutor of Visaria became a millionaire. In the stock market, and that's what happened. And he's also in another Eddie Murphy movie,
Coming to America.
Coming to America.
Play the same parts.
Same part.
Their fortunes have been reversed, however.
Not exactly. Mike Herman comments, the decision to change the name of Goldstadt to Frankenstein is the gift that keeps on giving. Apparently, I don't know which minute he's talking about, but apparently the town is infamous enough for the maid to sort of add a sense of foreboding. Oh, it must be when they come to... foreboding to the line delivery, and yet the residents of Visaria can't put two and two together and see that Ludwig is a member of that branch of the Frankenstein family. Apparently it is as common as a last name as Smith. I think that's crucial to making this make any sense. Yeah, because we've got... Frankenstein is a well-known person in the village. When he comes in, everyone gets out of his way in the minutes we're talking about now.
Well, and even the goose girl knows. He's
the one who treats those who are sick of mind. And if Igor would have said, no, the son of the one who, come on,
who created a monster from rifled graves.
Rifled graves.
I just saw him in something the other day, Gavin Gordon, good old Lord Byron from
the rifled graves.
And he does none of that.
Oh, okay. Well, good. All right. Chuck also commented, I bet we haven't mentioned this before. He put a comment about baby something. No, I don't know even what the comment was. And we were baffled. We had no idea what he was talking about. He said, not smart, just referring to a line in Hudson Hawk.
That's right.
Scotch must have been flowing that
baby
day.
Baby ball or something like that.
There you go. And Jason Tucker is disappointed that we don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I'll watch it someday.
Yeah, in fact, didn't he sent us a clip of it so we could have a frame of reference.
He did, and I still didn't. All right, Felicity Brown comments, I'd like to just leave a comment saying I left a comment. Well, that's an interesting point.
Good for her.
I mean, when you think about it, she's probably right about that. I think we should probably take that on board.
I can't really argue with that.
No argument here.
Yeah.
Mike Herman comments, I think the intro of Bela, framed by that piano, is the moment that most recaptures the son of Frankenstein movie, Igor Magic.
Yeah, he's just lurking back there, very sinister. I mean, there's no reason for him to be hiding back there like that.
Right, yeah.
He's already been announced that he's there. He obviously talked to the maid.
So it's a cool,
It's just a way to be that much more creepy.
And as I've been saying for the last few weeks, Earl C. Kenton, if he can find a boring way to put something in his movie, he'll do it. So it's interesting to see him do something that's sort of flamboyant.
Well, he does a few of those. I mean, we got the real up angle of the monster when Clostein first sees him.
That's true. I was also complimenting him this week on the shadow of the chain on his forehead, which is probably a mistake.
It's like, I wish we had a tape where that shadow wasn't there.
Yeah, well,
Earl, that's what we got.
Mike Herman comments, I don't have a problem with the more dangerous line.
Oh, he's more dangerous now than he ever was before.
Nice, okay. I always thought it meant he was more beat up and thus more unpredictable. I like that.
Yeah.
And I guess I've sort of always assumed something along those lines because you have to, otherwise you can't watch this movie. It's really, there's really no point to it unless he has a point to it. So he must mean something.
Yeah.
Mike Herman also commented, also, Son of Dracula as the best 40s Universal film? Oh, he must be responding to Rick. Mm-hmm. It's a bold claim, especially in comparison to Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. But with each viewing, I'm becoming more convinced. Mm-hmm. I like that the film and Chaney's performance are growing in people's estimations.
Yes.
I couldn't be happier about it either. I mean, I love these movies, so that's one of them.
Anytime one of them can be elevated, and I do think it's a better film than Frankenstein meets the Wolfman.
Probably.
It's much more consistent.
Well,
There is a huge weak link in Frankenstein meets the Wolfman.
True.
And there's not in Son of Dracula.
Well, it's interesting because they both have that atmosphere. That's a big part of Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, especially that opening bit. But
everybody talks about that. I was going to say, everybody talks about that opening sequence, and it's great. Mm. I don't think that atmosphere is sustained throughout the whole film.
No, it's not sustained, but it does come back into other parts. There are parts that are good too.
Yeah, there are parts that are good.
Yeah, no, I mean in that same way, like when the Wolfman escapes when he's in the hospital. There's some good stuff there.
Yeah, but everything that's good happens with the Wolfman.
Yes, actually, I went to dinner with my sister and her husband, my brother-in-law.
That would be.
And they had gone on a trip. This is now probably months ago because we're recording this in advance, but and they watched, I think, all of the series, and they hadn't seen all of them before. And he goes, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. I go, yeah, isn't it great? And he said, no, it's terrible. And I'm like, well, the parts that are good are really good.
Yeah.
And how do you argue with that movie being pronounced terrible? I get why you think that, for sure. Whereas Son of Dracula, I still think the weak point is Chaney, but I'd like to go back and revisit it. I've only seen it 2 or 3 times.
It's not weak enough that it disables parts of the film, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Whereas the weak link in
Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, when it's bad, it's
off the rails completely.
Laughably bad. Yeah. That's true. In fact, this one too.
Yeah, there are moments.
That's not the argument. Yeah, the argument is which is the best 40s. Best 40s Universal horror film.
Secrets of the Chateau, by far.
What do you think?
No.
Well, what are the options? I'm exempt because I love House of Dracula, and no one else even likes it. Everyone thinks it's the worst film that's ever been made in the history of filmmaking.
I had a book.
Like, there are snuff films that get a better rating on Letterboxd.
I had a book. It wasn't like a Golden Turkey thing, or it was written by an actual film scholar, not these Yahoo Medved brothers. It was a chapter about Never Give a Sucker an Even Break, a W.C. Fields film. Like, how did a major studio actually make and release this? And same thing with House of Dracula. It's like, how on earth did this get pushed through a major studio?
Yeah.
I can't argue that, but I still think they're fun as hell. And I would actually go so far as to say...
I might have to quit the podcast after season, what would it be, 7, 6, whatever, after season 6. Because I don't even know if I'm ready to talk about House of Dracula. I like it a lot. And I think when we break it down minute by minute, I'll be able to say, okay, here's what's wrong with this minute.
Sure.
Every week.
Yes.
And as a whole, I feel it's got a great atmosphere that is sustained. Like Son of Dracula. Son of Dracula has a great atmosphere that's sustained. It's just the vampire that I could do without.
Maybe.
But he's okay.
You know, I would probably watch House movie over Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. And I'm going to say they're not necessarily better films by any means.
I really like House of Dracula. I also really like House of Frankenstein, but I know my mind immediately gets sort of put it in a different slot. It's a B movie.
Oh, it's a B movie made for kids. Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't feel that way about House of Dracula or Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman.
No, I think
always.
They were still...
Yeah, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman is more like schlock made for adults.
Yeah. It's
I don't know.
It's still
and this
walking
one goes
that line.
Too.
Yeah, they're walking that line awful tenuously.
The name of the movie is All New Thrills because they're just making sure, hey, you know, you haven't actually seen this
movie.
That's it. That's the sales that went into it. All right, so did that one. Sorry, I've created a system whereby I have to clear out all the ones we already did, and there are a fair number of them. Maybe there's only one. Yep, we did that one, and then there was. Nope, I did that one. Sorry, there are quite a few of these. Now I kind of wish I had gotten my shit together. Yep, did that one too. Well, we're almost done.
I think that would throw everybody if
we suddenly had our shit together. Yep, we did this one for sure. We're almost there. I think we might have one left.
Okay.
Oh, no. Chuck commented, every time I hear the word blackmail, I think of the Piranha Brothers. So that's funny because that's not even in the blackmail sketch.
It's not.
Yeah.
That's what they
do.
Trafficked in.
Yes. This is a nice hospital you have here. Would be a shame if anything happened to it. Yes. Oh, I see that then. But even that's not the Piranha Brothers. That's the two guys that walk in on the...
What were they? Something in Luigi Vercati Brothers.
Yeah, okay, probably. Yeah. Oh, my brother's clumsy, Colonel.
Sorry, Colonel. It's a nice army you got here, Colonel.
So again, you're still wrong, Chuck. All right, I don't know. Fuck it.
His heart was in the right place.
Okay, so I got one left. Dr. Alex... Oh, shoot, I should have been ready.
Oh...
Dr. Alex Zorka posts at Classic Horror Film Board, it would be nice if Air Lang and Mr. Evenson would drop a few less F-bombs, especially when my young son is in the room. But I'm enjoying these podcasts.
Well, here's the problem. We don't know when your son is in the room.
Yes.
So it's hard for us to calculate. Anyway. Clean it up.
Apparently, I have a lot to catch up on, but I've been following these only fairly recently. I'm not sure I agree on Bela Lugosi not always understanding his character's dialogue by the way he emphasizes certain words. I'd blame some of that on the director, Earl C. Kenton. No argument here.
Fair. Absolutely.
You get the idea from Ralph Bellamy's recollections of Kenton that the director was a little pompous and no John Ford, but I think the guy generally knew what he was doing in the director's chair. Again, I do have to say, I do find him competent. Generally, what he's doing is competent, but
well, okay.
Like I said, that shot where you see the monster, and I'd like it if you didn't see the monster. It's a well-composed shot, made for a decent-looking TV show, you know.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I mean, and let me just finish before you go.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the guy directed Island of Lost Souls and W.C. Fields. You're telling me, although Buster Crabbe wasn't too fond of that picture, but Kenton wasn't a total hack.
No, I agree. And we're talking about now, we're in the 40s. This is the second cycle. It's a different studio than the Lemleys.
Yeah, it might as well be a completely different studio.
They are not affording him the time nor the budget to make another Island of the Lost Souls.
Yes.
Or even You're Telling Me, which is a very funny movie.
I don't know.
It's W.C. Fields.
I've heard.
Yeah.
My friend Dr. Alex Zorka told me.
So I think we have to couch how we approach the films moving forward after Son in those terms, that these are now B movies.
That's right.
It's not the bottom half of double bill like the House movies would become.
Yeah.
But it's not Frankenstein, Bride, or Son.
Yeah.
He does not have the time nor the budget to invest to make these elevated beyond what they are, their product.
I don't know. In this minute, when he leaves in the monster and Igor walking over and loading up into the back. Like if I just cut all that off and you just saw the monster in the back of the thing.
Yeah, you could easily edit around that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much control he had either.
Well, that's true. I was going to say
he did not have the autonomy. Certainly nobody did.
He might not have edited
at this Universal. Nobody had the autonomy that James Whale or even Roland V. Lee.
Sure.
Lee pissed that away, going way over budget and over schedule on Son and Tower of London.
Yeah.
So he never had that again either, but he didn't really make those kind of movies.
So is that part of what's happening here? Is this a reaction to Roland V. Lee where they're saying, look,
absolutely.
We want to make these movies, but you got to make them.
The reins were tightened pretty harshly, yeah.
This is a pot boiler. We want you to...
It's what Barsky refers to as a programmer.
A programmer,
That's
right.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, we need you to... Here's the budget, and if you hit that number, you're fired.
I mean, certainly Frankenstein and Bride were prestige pictures at the time. You know, Bride was huge.
Yeah.
You know, everything about it is enormous.
What about Abbott and Costello? Is it?
That's a pretty
picture,
decent,
but it seems
pretty decent budget. I mean, it looks fantastic.
It does. That's why I kind of wonder.
And the score is outstanding.
And you don't accidentally produce those opening credits either.
No. It's the score. I wish they would release on some format,
right?
Because it's a great score.
Yep.
I think it's better than a lot of them going through the 40s.
Like legitimate Ghost of Frankenstein. Well, it's odd in parts, but it's overall not a bad score.
Yeah, it's not a bad score.
Okay.
All right then.
I think we're done.
Are we done here?
I think this is it. We quit.
Can I go mow my lawn now?
That's a good idea. Does it need mowing? Or you just need to put the leaves up?
Well, that too. It's a little of both.
Yep.
Yeah, and I have been forbidden to rake or shovel, so.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much ever.
All right.
Fascinating.
Brought to you by Thom and Bill's Snow Removal.
Yeah. Have snow? Need it gone? Don't call us.
Yeah.